Okay, hi guys. If I haven't met you yet, I'm Emily. I'm the manager of music licensing here, and I'm pretty new to the team. So let me just kind of tell you why I'm doing this with you today. If you were at the live event, Kathy kind of gave you the lowdown. Um, so I moved to LA about 7 months ago, and I've been on the team for about 6 of those months. It all happened really, really quickly. It's been really fun. So here's kind of my trajectory and kind of how I did things and why I'm giving you this talk. Um, I graduated college about 2 years ago from a little college called Bradley University in Illinois. It's a great school. Um, but I knew what I wanted to do. I was just really scared to do it. So I moved home for 2 years and realized, hey, I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm not doing what I love. So I moved out here and things just progressed very, very quickly. So the thing that got me from point A to point B in 6 months versus the 2 years that I was back home in Minnesota was networking. That was a huge part of how I got where I am. So we're going to go into that a little bit later because I firstly wanted to answer a few of your questions that you posted on Facebook because this is office hours after all. So let's start there and then we'll circle back around and we'll do some talking about networking. Let's see, just got to pull it up really quickly. So the first question, sorry guys, my computer lost the photo, but we'll find it. Matthew says try living in England. Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty similar weather right now there. Talk amongst yourselves. I know professors always say that, but you can do that for now while I find this. Oh, okay, here we go. So the general questions that you guys had, let's start with Janie's question. She asked, what is your opinion on joining the Recording Academy? I'm a little less familiar with the Recording Academy, but I think that joining any organization is a great idea. It's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to get out. It's a great way to get into events and just meet people in your community. So yeah, go for it. It's a really simple answer, but I think it's a little less directly involved in sync licensing. So I think that there are more sync specific groups you could be joining, but the Recording Academy is, highly regarded and great. So if that's something you're interested in doing, Janie, I say, why not? Let's go. Let's see. I see a question from Joni, and she says, I write songs like a demon. What about producers who want to work with songwriters? I'm not sure I understand the question, so if you're on here, feel free to, clarify what you mean. Or if you're watching the replay, just tag me in a comment and we can chat about that. I'm just not quite sure what you mean by that. Next question is David, and says, next holiday coming up after Christmas is Valentine's Day. Yes, definitely. What are some common types of requests for Valentine's Day ads, /film, /TV, up-tempo, slow songs? I think for Valentine's Day, there's going to be a lot of like jewelry ads. It's going to be a lot of very kind of emotional, romantic sort of feelings, but there's also going to be those like upbeat and fun, like selling you candy or whatnot. we wanted to ask you guys for those like non-romantic songs as well, because not every Valentine's Day ad is going to be like romance specific. So I would say just create a range of things for yourself. Do some romantic love if you want. Do some like emotional, like family oriented stuff. You can do some platonic love for your December assignments. I think all of it is pretty good. There's not really one set thing that's being used all the time, but I'm also quite new to this industry, so I'm still doing research along with you guys, so we can all learn together. And if we get any searches for stuff, you know, we'll throw them your way, and yeah, we'll do it together. It'll be great. Let me check the chat here really quick. Okay, so let's go back to Joni's question here. She said that she means she doesn't know how to use DAW well enough to produce. She writes tons of songs, but might not have the money every time to do a producer. Are there any producers who are willing to work with me for the opportunity? I would say just keep reaching out to the course and see if anyone has the time or availability to do that. They're all awesome. And, you know, if they don't have time, maybe they have some references for you for friends or colleagues that might be interested in working with you as well. So just use your network and get resourceful and work through the connections. And I think that you might be able to find someone for sure. And, you know, maybe they're going to give you some kind of like friends and family discount. Like, who knows? Everyone kind of runs their business differently. But use your network and create that web that keeps going and going and going. And eventually you'll find someone who you really mesh with and you guys can create a team. So Jamila says, my membership with the Recording Academy has lapsed, but I found other artists within it to be very supportive. I plan to renew membership. That's awesome. Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is, you know, the community aspect of things like that is like immeasurable. You know, you're all colleagues in this community, and joining those organizations is really cool and a great way to just meet your fellow songwriters, your fellow creatives. It's great. Seeing some talk about holiday songs. We are a little bit out of the realm of holiday placements. I think we saw like one in the last couple of weeks, and that was like a really last minute one. So I think we're kind of out of the realm because those ads are airing in the movies and the TV shows. They're all kind of airing now. So, but you can totally start planning ahead for next year because you never know. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to get to the networking questions in a little bit because I have, you know, we'll just use that to transition into what we're going to talk about as a whole. Just checking the chat. Okay. Yeah, we'll get into the networking questions here in a little bit. I just wanted to roll through the other questions quickly so we have time to do that. And Bev wants to know, do we get pitches for Valentine's Day? I assume we will. Of course, you know, we work with other people, so, you know, it's all a symbiotic relationship, so we'll see what comes through. We don't know what kind of genre that's going to be yet. It's just all up to whatever they need. So, yeah, if there's anything that we can send out to you guys, we're definitely going to do it. But stay tuned. And I think we had one more like non-networking related question, which was from Kate. Let's see. So she's talking about, she wrote a song called The Messiness of Home, which is about missing home after you couldn't wait to get away from it. They were inspired by the animated film Brief and also by Jennifer at Rat Dance Party. And she said at the live event she didn't want songs specifically about home that like were too homey, like super written for sync kind of stuff. And they got their song reviewed in the last producer session. Like, shout out to Zion, Alex, and Dennis real quick. How awesome are they to just do that for you guys? They're so generous, and we're like so appreciative of them doing that. And I think it's such a great thing for you guys to, circling back around, Zion made a comment that he thought the song using the word messiness in conjunction with home was a little, it didn't really match up as well in like the emotional communication. So she's just curious what we think about something like that. So if we're gonna take that out from the specific and just be really general, something like that is going to be very specific. The reason for that, I do actually agree with what Zion had to say about that, and the other two guys. I did watch the session. So something like the word messy is innately going to sound and portray an emotion of messiness, which isn't exactly something that we always want to see. I'm not going to say that this kind of song isn't going to be placed, because it might. You never know. I would just say that to get the most utility out of your work, something like that is going to be a lot harder to work with. And that's just, it zeroes in on the negative aspect and it doesn't really center on home. So I think what you guys were trying to do is make a song about home that wasn't about home in like a cliche way, which is awesome, and you should definitely go down that route. It just needs to focus on home and not on the messy. I don't know if that makes sense, but there are always requests for home songs. Yes, Joni, home is one of those gigantic, universal, like always being asked for kinds of things. So yeah, home songs are great. Definitely have a home song in your catalog for sure. But if you're going to do something like that, there's a spectrum, right? So there's like really specific, where you're just talking about like the most specific thing, and it only maybe pertains to you or a couple other people. And then there's this side where you're being so general that nobody can relate to it. You want to be somewhere like in the middle, where it's general, but it also evokes an emotion, right? So when we hear your art, we want to hear the emotion, but we also want to relate to it ourselves. So, Joni, that's cute. Joni's holding up a sign that says producers wanted. That's very funny. So there's little Santa too. That's really cute. So Kate, if you have any more questions about that, you can shoot us an email specifically. We can chat with you more about that. But in general, something with a negative connotation is going to be a little bit harder to work with. When you think of home, you think of like warmth and family and friends, and like as a cliche, like home is where the heart is kind of thing, but don't use that in a song because it's really cliche. Unless you're doing it in like a super new way. But yeah, you don't want something to take you out of that, because we want to relate to it again. Great. So I think that that's all we had for like let's see. Yeah, Matthew just commented that he has a question. Why are a lot of the submission requirements such short notice? I was up till 2 a.m. last night, got stuff done, but it's crazy. Yeah. So occasionally, in order to get you guys some opportunities, it does come up a little bit last minute. We did realize for this last one that we just didn't have anything for it, and maybe you guys did. So a lot of our submissions, like that, the TV show or whatnot, will have a bigger deadline, and we always want to give you guys like a day or two, but we'll sometimes throw those short ones your way just to see if you have anything, especially if we don't. So yeah, but good hustle, guys. That's great. So let's transition now into the actual topic. Thank you guys for bearing with me. This is my first office hours, and it's a different world for me for sure. Okay, so let's start with the questions. A lot of these questions from Matthew and Dina. I do have a plan to go over a lot of this in depth, so I'll just give you guys a little shout out for the questions here. So Matthew's question is, being from the UK, given that networking works best when you meet people for real, what tips would you give to people like me to try and keep my chances at a similar level to those who are able to meet in person regularly? And Dina's question was, I would like to know the best way to network, especially with Music Soups, even though you're just starting out in sync and don't have high quality music yet to submit, when or if they say, send me what you have. Great, so we're gonna go over both of these for sure. So just going back to, if you missed it earlier, networking has honestly been the most beneficial thing for me. It's gotten me everything. And now it's a big part of my job here too, to help the company, to help myself, to help my colleagues, to help you guys succeed. A lot of my job here is networking. So let's just start by talking about kind of a general mindset to keep in mind with networking. You always kind of want to just be relaxed. Like, everyone says networking is this big stale thing, and it's got a formula, and you got to do it this way, and you got to do it this way. And it's just not true. Like, the biggest thing about networking is, like, I even dislike the word networking. It's relationships. That's all it is. It's just a person talking to a person and trying to create a symbiotic relationship. Joni, yes, we are totally networking right now. It's all about just creating a bond and a relationship and something that you can both grow through. So it's not about what can you do for me? What can I do for you? It's about what can we do together? And it just needs to be human. It's a very human experience. The minute I started kind of realizing that was when things really took off. So I definitely wanted to mention that first and foremost for you guys. The biggest thing that I always say is, when you're going to start the conversation, you shouldn't be asking for things. You should be asking about things. Again, harkening back to the human aspect of things. We all need something, and that's why we're networking. But so do they. We all are humans. We're all people. The main thing is, you're not going to get a response if you're just going to be like, hey, listen to my music. Hey, I need feedback. Hey, let me give you songs to put on your show. It's just, you're asking for things. When I started out, I was emailing people and saying like, hi, if you need an intern. Hi, if you have any job openings. If you can do something for me, that would be great. And it's just not, it doesn't make them feel like you care. So you always want to have them in mind. You should be asking them about things. Ask them about what they do. How did they get where they are? Who did they meet that helped them along the way? What do they love about what they do? How can someone like you get to do something that actually eventually ends up helping them? Just get to know them as a person, because it's a relationship, right? Like, if you're going to make some new friends and you're going to like go out to a bar or something, you're not going to start out by being like, hey, do you want my SoundCloud link? Like, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're going to ask them like, what do you do for a living? Wow, that's really cool. What's your day look like? How did you get that job? What did you study in college? Like, all of this stuff, that's a conversation, right? That's the kind of conversation you want to be having. It takes longer. You're not going to get immediate results. but it's a relationship, it grows, it builds and it grows. So always be asking about things instead of for things. And then when you start to do that and you start building that, they figure out, what kind of person you are too. And maybe they'll ask you questions in return. And it's a great little symbiotic thing. Let's see. What else did I want to say on that? Oh, yeah. And just be casual. It's about the potential of your relationship and not about what they can do for you. And just, get out of your head. It's not so scary. Talking to people can be really scary, for sure, especially if they're like a really important person or you like really respect them and they're like a hero of yours. It can be like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I'm going to talk to this person. But they're just people, and so are you. And you can just be two people having a conversation. So you can just breathe. Just breathe. It's going to be fine. Just for an example, when I was just starting out, oh my gosh, I have a Gmail folder in my email of all the job applications and networking that I sent out to people. There are 701 emails that I put into that inbox. And they're all like, I got like 5 responses out of those. It's ridiculous. It takes a lot, for sure. But that's impersonal. And I started doing that years and years and years and years ago. It took this long to find a relationship that built and grew over time and came to a result. It doesn't need to take that long, but it sometimes does. It really does. It is truly a numbers game. That's true, Jennifer. It is. But it's also a very human game. So what made all the difference for me, if you were at the live event, you met Allison Wright Clark. She is my mentor. She is amazing, and she's the reason that I'm here. I met her back in 2016, in like January of 2016. I came out here to LA on a school trip. We were meeting people, we were networking. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that she was it. Like, she was what I wanted to be when I grew up. She was everything. And she went to my school, so we were in the alumni network, and I knew I was like, okay, well, I can start with that. I can work with that. Okay. I was so nervous, but I met her, and we ended up talking for 2 hours that night, just chatting about, not even really about music, just about like life. And I followed up with her in an email, and then an email came back to me. I sent another one out. Almost 3 years go by. Here I am in LA because I moved here, reconnected with her. Not that we were ever like disconnected, but connected with her. She brought me to an event where I met the Catch the Moon team, and then connected with them, same thing, and now I'm here. That's the chain. It's great. But it just goes to show that these relationships can pay off like immensely. So now that I've kind of got that, so Matthew just says, this is why I ask about what I can do when I'm on the other side of the world. Yeah. So here's the thing about sync, it very specifically, is there's not one zone for it. LA is not the end all be all for this industry. And I'm sure you guys have sort of figured that out, being everywhere across the world. Of course, in LA, with all of these studios and all of the entertainment business kind of being a hub here, it's a little bit more like open, a little bit easier to meet people just kind of randomly. But there are for sure people all over the world doing this. There might not be a lot of companies, but there are. And at very least, what you can do is reach out, ask a question, be personable. We're on Zoom right now, right? I'm seeing all of your faces from wherever you are. that's as good as it is to meet in person, right? We're having a conversation right now, and that's great. Yeah, hi from Louisiana. Hi. You guys are everywhere. I feel like I'm talking to you in a room, even though I can't like hear you or see all of you at one time, but this is just as good as anything. The main point is to figure out a way to get that connection. And that's what I wanted to go into right now, is just like a couple of tools that have been really helpful for me when it comes to networking. So firstly, like, who do you talk to? You know, who do you want to talk to? That's the real question. Who do you want to talk to? Anybody. Could be anybody. TV music supervisor, a licensing agent, a publisher, a manager. Who knows? Whoever you want to talk to. Figure it out. How are you going to find them? Do they have a website? Are they on LinkedIn? Do you know someone who might have their email? Do you know someone at the company? Do they have any other emails listed on their website? There's a million ways, for sure, to find that information. But the way that's worked best for me is definitely LinkedIn. And I know it's like a little bit different because you guys are more on the like musical creative side, but I think it's still a great tool to market yourself and to meet other people. This whole network, like social network, is made for networking. It's the best. So what you want to do with LinkedIn, it can be a little overwhelming at first, but it's really just a living, breathing resume, right? So you can make it like really gorgeous. You can put all of your performances on there. You can put like anyone you've worked for. You can put photos. You can get reviews. You can get endorsed for things. You can reach out to like the CEO of Warner Chappell if you want. You know, everyone's there. So what I would have to say, let's see, where do I want to start with LinkedIn? So the first thing I would say about LinkedIn is definitely have a highly curated profile. You want to have a really good picture of you that looks like you. You want to have all of your information listed out in chronological order, just like you would a resume. You want to have solid information in there, so fill in the blanks. Put your job title, even if it's just like producer or musician. Put a company in there, even if it's just you. You can put like private company or whatever your name is. It doesn't matter. You are your company. And then write a little bit about what you do day to day. Let them see who you are as a person, because if they click on a profile and it just has a little gray box with like a little weird person, they're not going to believe that you're a real person. So you kind of have to convince them why they should trust you. Are you a real person? Yes. So you can do this. And let me see if I can show you guys a little bit. I'll try to pull up my LinkedIn here. Let's see, but while I do that, a couple other things to note. You can actually just search for literally anybody on LinkedIn. If you go to the search bar and you type in music supervisor, you get a list of like 700 people. You really do. And you can specify by location. You can specify by job title. You can specify by company. There's a million things you can do. There's so many people on LinkedIn. It's crazy. It's crazy. You should definitely keep that. Yeah, Chelsea, that's okay, but try to keep it updated. It's a great way to network. Let's see. So Randy said, my LinkedIn is a bit divided because my day job is also on there. I come across a bit schizophrenic. How's the best way to handle dual careers? Just have it on there. You know, you can also have a subject line on your profile. So you can say like your name, your company or whatever, but you can also put like a little short description of what you're looking for, who you are, or what you do. So right now mine says manager of music licensing at Catch the Moon Music, because I am happy where I am. I'm not looking for recruiters to find me. And before I had this job, I had a subject line that said, recent college graduate seeking XYZ. Because when they hover over your profile, that pops up too. So they can see what you're looking for. So you can say something like, independent genre musician seeking success in sync licensing or something like that. Come up with whatever sounds like you said it. That's the best thing, is, again, to just be very human and teach them about you in a way that maybe like a stale resume or, you know, your disco playlist can't. And you can also put links to that on your LinkedIn too, which is crazy. You can put documents, you can put links to your music. Do it. It's great. And you can message people just like you'd message them on Facebook. So if you connect with somebody, just shoot them a message, which is great. Let me see. Let's see if I can get this on the screen. I don't know, what can you guys see right now? Okay. All right, sorry guys, I don't know how to use this. Okay, great, you saw it. Okay, let me see if I can figure this out really quickly. Okay. Thank you for your patience, guys. I'm really new to this. You guys are so kind. Okay. Okay, let me show you a little bit about LinkedIn here. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you see this? Okay, great. Okay, so I have a couple notifications, but I just wanted to show you guys what my profile looks like really quickly, because I've had a lot of success networking here on LinkedIn. So I have a little photo that looks like me. And also I was lucky enough to go to an actual industry event. So some people will see that and be like, oh, I know that logo, which is like super cool. Which is a huge bonus for me. And also that was a really fun event. So we had a great time. That was at the Guild of Music Supervisors conference. So here I have a little bio, really quick bio. I'm on my personal profile, so it's going to ask me if I want to edit some stuff. So you can just ignore that part. But I have a little bio here that tells them a little bit about me. Let's see, now I'm scrolling down and here's my most recent job stuff. So people, you know, they're not going to want to browse very quickly. I know I don't. So if you're going to connect with somebody on here and you want them to connect with you, put what you want them to see up here, but try to keep it really recent. Don't put something from 2015 up here, because then they're going to be like, oh, are they still working? Are they doing that? Yes, you are. So you want to curate a profile that tells people what you actually are looking for on here. So I've put all of my experience on here from all of the years that I have been working, all the way down here. I've put my education. I've put all this volunteer experience on here. I have all my skills and endorsements. I have courses I've taken in college. I have organizations I'm a part of. I have certifications. I have anything that I was given as an award on here. Is all of this a lot? Yes, it's a lot. I, like most people my age, was very scared and very nervous and very desperate to get that next step after college. It's very normal. And even when we don't have a secure thing going for us, it's totally normal to be super desperate, but you can do something about it. And this is what you can do about it. You can curate it and you can put all this information on there, because you never know what someone's going to see and be really excited about. Maybe I put on here, I was part of an organization in college called Sigma Alpha Iota, which is an international women's music fraternity. I don't know if I'm going to send a LinkedIn request and maybe somebody else was, in that women's fraternity in college. You never know. And it's all just, a network. So curating like this is so fun and it's so great. And then once you have it there, you can just update little things every now and then and you've got it. That's all it is. Let's do like a little search here, just so you guys can see. So I'm just gonna search for a music supervisor. So I'm not looking for jobs right now, but you can search in people. Do you see how many results this is? 237,404 results. That's insane. That's how many people are listing music supervisor on their profile. That's 237,000 people you could potentially connect with on LinkedIn. Crazy. Crazy. And locations. You can choose one of these. You can add a location. Just because Matthew's on here, I'm going to click United Kingdom really quickly. 32,000 results. That's insane. See, it's completely doable. And this is just one subset. This is just a listing of people who are on LinkedIn. The cool thing, let's just click on somebody. So the cool thing too is over on the side, I don't know if you guys can see this, but if you can see the side, people also viewed these accounts. So you can actually get into like a LinkedIn hole and just keep clicking people. You can go all day doing that. I've gone all day doing that. It's crazy. And it's so fun. And you can totally do it. All right. I'm going to pop back on. Hi. Thank you guys for your very sweet messages that I'm seeing in the comments. Yeah, so that's like a little tutorial of LinkedIn. The biggest thing, as much as I love LinkedIn, I want to caution you guys not to lean heavily on LinkedIn, because I think of it as a tool to meet people and to take that conversation off of LinkedIn, which is the goal, right? You don't want to be relying on that social media to hold yourself up. So my goal is always to get a conversation, move it to email, move it to in person or over Zoom. We connect occasionally with people in New York, people in the UK. We had a call with someone on Skype from the UK. We connect with people from all over because with the internet, anything is possible. Of course, there is no way to supplement that in-person relationship, but we can get as close as possible to doing that. And if you say you're out of options, I'm probably not going to believe you because we just saw how many options there are. That could take you weeks, months, years to work through. You can do this. It's super easy. And it's as easy as sending a message, like you'd send a Facebook message. So let's see, what else did I want to say about that? Yes, a couple other things to caution. Don't send messages or emails to people you don't intend to follow up with, because that's not going to be good for you and it's not going to be good for them. So you want to make sure that you're zeroing in on people that you actually want to work with and who actually might want to work with you. That, you want to be zeroing in on that really curated group of people. I'm using that word a lot because it's very important. You really want to craft the world you want to be in, because you can do that. There's so many options in this world. So, if you want to be, if you want to have your music on TV, don't be emailing all the ad supervisors. What's that going to do for you? You don't have what they're looking for, and they're not looking for what you have. So there's no real relationship until you're ready to have what they're looking for, So only reach out to people who you can see a real symbiotic relationship with. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of flat. Let's see. And then, yeah, be very, very personal in your messages. Make sure that you tell them that you hear them and you see them and you respect them. Because if you show respect, your odds of being given respect go way up, you know? So be really personal. You know, if they're working on something that you think is really cool, tell them that. Tell them how much you admire them. Tell them that they're doing a really good job. Give them a little compliment. I usually like to say, like, it's so cool to connect with people. It's innovative as you, doing as cool of work as you are. Like, what's it like to work on this project? Show them that you actually paid attention and you know who they are. It makes people feel really important. Flattery goes a long way, a very long way. But don't be ingenuine about it. Don't send a copy-paste email or message. Get yourself a good template and roll with that, but make sure that you're still being really personal and nice and kind and genuine, because we're humans. That's like my big spiel here. You know, we're all humans and we want to be treated like humans. So let's do that. And then, yeah, so you're always going to be wanting to try to move to email if you can. LinkedIn is just a really great vehicle for personal relationships. And then keep your messages and your emails really short. They're not going to want to sit there and read a paragraph. They're not going to sit there and read like 6 pages of diary notes that you want to send them. Let's see, Emily just asked, would it be best practice to not send any songs in the first contact? Actually, yes, that's actually a pretty decent way to go about it. Unless they've like solicited music from you, I would say just try to create a relationship. That's what's more important. Because would you rather somebody listen to your song one time and forget about you, or would you rather someone get to know you and actually come to you and ask you if you have music? Maybe they're sending you searches. Maybe they're saying like, hey, I really need this song. I think that's a more fruitful relationship, is even in the first message just saying like, hi, I'm a singer-songwriter and I just really admire what you're doing. Can you tell me a little bit about the job and how you got your job? Because it's really cool. It's fascinating to me. Something like that. Putting a joke in there is great. Like anything you can do to kind of brighten someone's day. We get a lot of emails. People like us here at Catch the Moon, music supervisors, we get a lot of emails and we don't want to open them all. You know, that's the thing. We get probably like a couple hundred emails a day, just people being like, listen to my music. What do you think? Send like, here's my SoundCloud. It's just like, you don't need to be doing that. You can be different. Just get to know people as people. It's going to be a world of difference. Like I said before, you need to be asking about things instead of for things. I know sometimes it's scary if we're not, you know, making a lot of money, if we're kind of really wanting to get to that next step. It can be so easy to fall into a really desperate place, because I was there and I know it, and it's not fun and you don't get results. People can see straight through that. So sending music in the first email, if you're gonna send it, make sure it's a preferred link, firstly. If people read a really nice email and then they see a SoundCloud link, it ruins everything. I promise you. I've seen those. It sucks. So put a preferred link in there and just tell them like, hey, if you have a second, no pressure. Listen to it if you have time. If you don't, it's totally fine. Whatever. Have a good day. Don't send an email expecting something from them. And I think that Kathy's mentioned this before too. just be a person and treat them like a person who is busy, because I'm sure you're also really busy. So yeah, just relationship building is really important. Some examples of a good subject line. Yeah, this is hard, even for me. I'm terrible at subject lines, personally. But I think a couple great ways, yeah, putting the theme of a song in a subject line is a great thing. So if I see something in my email come through like saying hello, and then they're like, sounds like XYZ, or like, are you looking for this kind of music? Because maybe we are. You can ask a question. You can be really personal. You can just say like, say you're going to send an email to like Alex Patsava. So you can be like, love Riverdale or something. Like, I don't know. That's really lame. But like I told you, I'm like terrible at subject lines. I'm just giving you ideas so you can hopefully create this on your own. Just again, like just like your content, you should be showing them that you're paying attention and you know who they are and you've looked them up and you think they're really cool, because they probably are really cool. I think everyone's really cool. So yeah, you can put a joke, you can put, yeah, a sounds like, yeah, exactly. You can put a theme in there. You can be like, hey, are you looking for home songs? Are you looking for family songs? Like Super Bowl's coming up. I mean, that's probably like way too general of a thing, but yeah, subject lines are really hard, which is especially, it makes it so much easier if you're connecting somewhere other than just over email. So if you're using other tools, like going out to events, using LinkedIn, maybe you're using Twitter, maybe you're using Facebook, I don't know. You can literally in that situation put the subject line like continuing from LinkedIn, or I don't know, maybe you had like some kind of joke of a correspondence in there. You can put a joke in the title. Just if you had a previous conversation, you can put that in the email, and then they know like, oh yeah, I was talking to Chelsea on LinkedIn and now we're talking over email. Okay, I remember her. Let's continue. I guess my general thing is like, just find other ways to do what everyone else is doing so that you can be different. Because that's what we always want you guys to do. That's why you're in this course, so that you can learn how to do this and be unique and be yourself and stand out. That's what we want. So everything that I'm telling you right now, you can translate this into your own thing, whatever that looks like for you. Which leads me to the next part, which we kind of covered. I have like a little outline that I put together because I was really nervous. Let's see. Yeah, so the conversation, stuff that you're actually going to talk about. If you're emailing with them, in the first email, ask like 1 to 2 questions maximum, maybe 3 if it makes sense. Don't overload them, especially if you don't know them yet. Put any reference in there that you have, like if you met them at the live event, you can say like, I met you, or I saw you and didn't get to meet you at the live event, or I was out at XYZ and saw you and thought that was really cool that you were there. What did you think? Something like that, but keep it really brief, keep it really personal. Yeah, so the goal should be to create that relationship. If they're eventually going to be sending you briefs, you know, or a relationship, or they're going to refer you to someone else, you're going to want to make sure you have a really solid thing going. On top of that, let's kind of talk about this too, because this is like relevant to how we all interact with each other. You're going to want to figure them out in their communication style as well. So reading the room is really important. Eventually, if they are going to send you a brief, you're going to want to know that when you're reading that, you know exactly what they're talking about. Everyone has a little bit of a different communication style. So even if, you know, we're sending you guys something, we want you to understand what we're actually sending you and what we're actually asking for, so that when you send it back to us, we're not like, ugh, you know what I mean? We only want to listen to what we asked for, and we still listen to everything, of course, because you guys are great, but we want what we asked for, and so do they. So just make sure that you're really understanding their communication style. You're reading what they're saying, every word. Look for the little details. Don't skim it. Because again, like, that could be make or break. If someone you're talking to, like, if you start things and they're going really well, and then they say like, oh, you know what, I have this project and we're really looking for XYZ, and you send to them ABC instead of XYZ, you're done. You know what I mean? So just read and understand and take it in, and yeah, just be open. It's going to work out, but you have to work together. And then also, taking no for an answer is humbling, but very important too. And this is very serious. You're going to hear a lot of no's, and I know that you guys know that. You have to be able to take the no and move on. So don't get stuck on that one person who said no. Think of all the people who might say yes, because there's a way bigger list of those people. There's, you're emailing 50 people in a day and 49 of them say no. One person says yes. You start again tomorrow. You just keep going. Don't pester them. Don't say like, oh, but I really, really think, like, don't do that. It's not going to help you. If they're saying no, they probably don't have time. They're not interested. A million reasons. Take no and just move on. Just keep going. Be productive. That's a better use of your time. Keep creating, keep reaching out, keep building relationships. If they don't want if they don't want to make time for you, you don't need to make time for them. That's a real truth of life. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Let's talk a little bit too about pitching when you're not really ready to pitch yet, because that was a question that Dina had. If you're not really feeling ready, this still applies to you. You can still be reaching out. You can talk to people. You can learn from people. You can ask them, instead of listening to your music, you can say like, oh, I'm not really confident where I am right now. What do you look for in a song? What do you look for in your projects? What are you actually, like, what would you give as advice for someone in my position? You can be learning while you're learning. Just keep learning. Life should be learning. Just keep going. You don't need to have what they're looking for right now, because again, you can build that relationship, and eventually when you do have it, they know your name. They know you. Hopefully you're friends by then. You can say like, oh, I'm really confident about this. And then maybe one day they're like, yeah. So just keep talking to people. Like, there's no reason not to talk to somebody. You can't be afraid to hit send, because you'll never get results if you don't reach out. So I've been talking for a while. If you guys have any other questions, let me pop in here. I feel like I'm kind of rambling, so if I need to go over something again, or if I miss something, just let me know. Again, I'm like really new at this, so thank you guys for bearing with me on this. I hope everything that I'm talking about is making sense. Oh, bye, Matthew. What subject line should you put if you aren't ready to pitch? That's going to be a really good general email. So if you're not ready to pitch, maybe you just say like, hello from an aspiring sync artist, or something like that. My subject line when I was reaching out to people was just like, hello from an aspiring music supervisor. And that kind of immediately from the get-go created like a mentor-mentee relationship, which is what I was going for anyway. And eventually I got into a couple of conversations where I like almost got an internship, or like I was considered for jobs because I just had this conversation and they wanted to help me because I looked up to them and I told them like, what you do is amazing. How do I do that? Which is also how I met Sonnet and Victoria. I went up to them and I said, what you do is super cool. How did you do it? How do I do it? Not asking them for a job, not asking them for an internship, not asking for anything, asking for advice on how I can create my own path. I'm lifting my own workload. I am doing all of my own work. I just want you to give me a map. That's all I'm asking for. Asking about things instead of for things. Let's see, does anyone have any questions? Yeah, so subject line when you're not ready to pitch could just be like, you just want advice, right? You can just, even in the email, say like, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm not going to send you music because I know it's not what you need. I just want to know what you do need so that eventually I can create it. It's all about advice in that scenario. So you can lean on each other in that, and they can really mentor you. You don't need to be in their industry to be their mentee by any means. Again, it's all just like human to human contact. We're all human. We all just want to be treated with respect and give respect. That's the most important thing. Just a couple of things to wrap up on too. Like, I know I'm not an expert on this, like definitely not. I've just really found that leaning on people is so helpful. For me, I did a lot of it out of survival because I'm young and I needed it to happen. But when I stopped being really desperate about it, that's when I started realizing that there's this wealth of information out in the world. And it can eventually be really cool to work together with what I've learned and what they've learned. And, you know, I'm new at everything, so it's really exciting to talk to somebody and say like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that was even something you could do. Tell me everything about it. And then the excitement is there. And even if you've been in the industry forever, people are still excited to talk about themselves. Oh, thanks, Joni. It's all very scary, but it doesn't need to be stale. That's all I'm trying to talk about with you today. It just doesn't have to be so sterile. It can be full of heart. It can be enthusiastic. It can be exciting. It can be personal. It can be genuine. And that's what you want. You don't need to copy and paste the templates that we give you or somebody else writes up. You don't need to follow a formula. You don't need to do what everyone else is doing. It's so scary, but you can do it. It's a lot easier than you think. You just have to find your own style of doing it. So I can talk at you for another hour about this, but it's all up to you. You've still got to do it from your own heart, because that's where it's going to come from. That's where everything comes from. I'm very introverted, and I get really scared going out to events and talking to people. But once you do, it's so fun, and you're just meeting people who are also people. And I'm saying that a lot because I really want you guys to understand that everyone's just a person doing a job, doing a thing. That's all it is. It's not scary if you just stop thinking so hard about it. That's all it really is. Well, to the couple of you that are still here, do you have any other questions? And if you're watching the replay, you can totally put questions in the comments and I'll pop back in and try to answer. I'm a little flustered because I'm so nervous, but thank you guys for the for the very sweet messages of encouragement. So Dina does have another follow-up question. She said, if you don't get a response, should you follow up with another email? You can totally do that, but do not spam them. Don't spam them. Give it like 2 weeks in between until there's a response. If there's a response, you can kind of cut that down to like 1 week, especially if there's something like really tangible that you talked about. Like maybe they said, oh, I've got this project coming up I'll keep you in mind for. Totally follow up. Follow-ups are great, but again, just be really personal, and maybe sometime they'll have the time to open that email and you can start that up. But yeah, definitely don't like send an email a day or even every week. Every 2 to 3 weeks is probably good, especially if they didn't respond. Maybe the email's wrong. Maybe they're busy. There's a lot of reasons, but follow-ups are great. When I was first talking to Allison, I followed up like every 2 weeks, and it took her like a month to get back to me the first time, but she did. And I sent maybe 2 to 3 emails before it really got to her. But yeah, it's totally fine as long as you're not being like really, really obnoxious about it. But I trust that you guys won't. You guys are totally fine. Like, yeah, 2 to 3 weeks is a good range. Let me read some of these comments. You guys are so sweet, seriously. For everyone watching the replay who can't read the comments, everyone is really nice. Thank you guys. So Dina said, if there isn't a response to your response, then let it go. Eventually, yes. If this is someone that you really, really desperately want to talk to, give it space, but you can still follow up. I wouldn't necessarily reference like the same things every time, because maybe they won't read your other emails. And if you say like, per my last email, they're like, what last email? You know what I mean? Yeah, so maybe if they're not responding, maybe you give them a text, or not a text, maybe you give them an email, you respond, or you follow up 2 weeks later and you still haven't heard. Maybe give it like a month and do maybe like 1 a month, and maybe you hit a good time for them. But you don't need to just keep, running into a brick wall if it's not working. Move on to more productive things and come back when you have time. Just keep being productive, because the more people you talk to, the bigger your net is and you can catch more. You know what I mean? So the more people you're talking to, the more responses you have the potential to get. So if it's not working, just keep going, unless it's someone that you're really passionate about, and then you can just keep coming back to it. Yeah, good point. Move on. Don't chase them down like a boy who's not interested. Absolutely, Dina. Absolutely. Eventually, when you guys start getting really, really successful, which I truly believe you could, maybe they'll come to you. Isn't that a cool thought? How someone could come to you? Ooh, so fun. It could come full circle. That's what's really cool. It has for me, and it's the coolest feeling in the world when you have the emails you used to send coming into your inbox. That's the coolest feeling. And I want you guys to take that with you, just the potential for success as you continue going about all of this crazy minefield of networking. Just be people and lift each other up, and you'll be fine. Just a smile goes a long way. Warmth goes a long way. Being genuine is very easy to spot. Being fake is also easy to spot. But just be yourself, and you'll be great. All right. Any last minute questions? And then I think we're good. Anything at all? Let's see. Did I forget anything? No. Okay. Joni has a quick event question. Yeah. Venue is TBD for the event, but we have some great stuff coming up. So we're going to let you know as soon as possible, but it's March 7th and 8th in LA. It's going to be in the general zone of LA, around there. So we're not going out to like San Bernardino or something crazy. We're going to be in LA March 7th and 8th. It's going to be super fun. We're going to have like all new people. It's going to be a blast. Great. And I think that that's it. I know this was really long, guys. So thank you for sticking with me and listening and being awesome. I'm going to let you go for the day to keep creating and doing amazing things. And great. Okay. Bye, guys. Have a good day.